It's Monday morning as we begin a brand new week here in the month of August. Nice to have you with us. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we're going to talk about sending kids back to school and what we need to do to prepare them. Dr. Crystal Lee from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan is going to be with us for that. And we'll have open phones after that. At 11 o'clock, we will learn about the Omni Alternative High School, part of the Carleton school system. All that coming up. But for this hour, we spend time talking about Lansing and Michigan politics and all of that good stuff. And we do that with the representative of the 96th District. And we say good morning to Timothy Beeson. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Just coming off of a Bring It Back Pickle Weekend up in Linwood, Michigan, and a great little community festival that came back for the first time in a few years, and with a big hit.
Good deal. Good deal. A number of things I want to talk about this morning. First of all, in the news, and I know that you're on the subcommittees on corrections and judiciary. We've heard some stories about having problems filling corrections positions and what that means inside the penal facilities in the state of Michigan. Where are we with that, and how do we fix it? Can we fix it?
Well, I've only toured one of the correction facilities, the all-women one, and we have on the calendar to tour more. But my son and his friends that worked in that correction facility, when they first get in, I think that we got to do a better training because that's really crucial, because a lot of these people that are going into it, I don't know if they really realize what the job is. And now that the state law has made it so we can see as state legislators every incident that is happening in these correction facilities, it's a very dangerous place to work. And some of the people that reached out to me and some of my old workers that work there, the wife actually was at a wedding with me and said, hey, we've got to do something to make sure that I am protected if something happens to my husband while he's at work, So, and I think we got to change the culture of what that job is. It's a serious job, and working all these overtime hours, it puts you at risk. I mean, as it is, you're at risk when you're already there for 8 hours, but you're watching your back all the time. But when they're making more and more overtime hours, I really worry about that.
So part of the need right now is to find more people to go into corrections.
Correct.
A lot more.
And yes, and that's the thing is like, and a job, right? That is, it's not a job. It's a service job that you're going to get your hands dirty because you got to show up and you got to be there, right?
Is the pay comparable to other first responder law enforcement types, or is it less?
No, the pay is well, I should say the pay is good as long as you're working the overtime, but it's kind of like mandatory overtime. And the people that I've talked to, it's not that they're not happy with their compensation, right? And they have a 401k. I know that the governor vetoed their pension. She found that to not be the situation. But I think that if we give them the pay, it's also a very dangerous job. I mean, like, you got to have your head on the swivel the whole time. Even with the best policies, you got to be mentally alert all the time.
We, they're the new prison designs, not the old prisons, but the new designs are kind of hub and spoke, where they have arms coming off of a central control center.
Correct.
And
Yep,
and it's safer for the officers. Do we have any of those, or are we going to build any, or where are we with funding our correctional facilities?
And I'm only been here for this is my first term in corrections. They kind of put it in because I showed interest that I had young people that work for me in there, and I wanted to, in our area, and I wanted to see how this goes. And but I think that the one I was in, it was great. It had good security levels, and you could see that it was working right, and it had like kind of like the bubble system. It kind of looks pretty well, like it has it set up nice. The only thing is you still have to have a workforce, right, that is trained well. And I'm telling you, like, this workforce it's just like probably being in the Army. I never was in the Army or military, but you don't have a chance to deviate from protocol, like, right? Because otherwise somebody's going to get hurt.
Well, yeah, and we assume they don't deviate from protocol for their own safety.
Well, and the thing is the mandatory overtime. If you've actually looked into the budget, I don't have the numbers on me, but I couldn't believe the amount of overtime that we pay out in our prison systems, right? So that there's something to be said about the and I'm not neglecting overtime for people that want to work hard and do that. Just that it's hard for a person that's just getting into that field, right, to have a lot of mandatory overtime.
Well, and the more overtime we pay out, the more it points out the need for more officers. Obviously.
Right. And some places it's hard to get, like in the UP prison up north. I know that Dave Preston, soon to be running for senator, he's been to those prisons, and he says that, like, it's just hard to get people to move up north to the UP and become a prison guard, right? Like,
yeah. Well, it's certainly a problem. It's not going to go away. It's going to need some attention, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think that with new leadership and maybe a new director, I feel that you've seen what the last 8 years have done, and maybe it's time for a different direction.
Let's talk about the budget since we now have one. Are you satisfied with it?
Well, I mean, are we satisfied with any budget? I feel like I could have still found more funds in there that the different departments that I oversee are holding on to, right, that are still asking for additional monies, and they have certain funds that are they didn't exert for the 3 years that they've been there, right? So I think that we can still tighten our belt, and I hope to see whoever the next governor is takes a look at the fact that we have funds out there in some of the departments, and we're making, like, times are tough right now. I mean, you look at your electric bill. I know my electric bill's huge, right? And why are we asking for more revenue from the taxpayers, right?
Well, if you have departments that have money left over, why are they asking for more money in the next budget?
Well, that is the big question. Like, that's the pork that I tried to cut out, and I got criticized because our little bridge was in there for $1.6 million, and it wasn't even enough to cover the cost of the city's cost of the bridge. So I have a $680 million port spend. Our bridge was $1.6 million. Listen, I talked to the engineer. It wasn't enough to cover it. Let's get rid of that 600. I'll put it back in the next year. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, Michigan Indigent Defense had a $50 million ask after they paid their bills. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's probably got to be a better spot than a slush fund. They already have additional monies sitting in two other funds that they didn't use the year prior or the year before that. That's what we got to go after. We got to tighten up. Yeah, we got to tighten this up. A lot of oversight and say, hey, let's not keep getting money just because in the past they've got it. Like, let's see it's actually being used and spent wisely.
Well, I know how to do it, but it'll never happen. Zero-based budgeting.
I would love to see it. That would be great that would be a fantastic project. I would actually stick out a lot longer to see that, to show the budgets, because some of those funds that are still in there, they used to collect money different parts of Lara, and now they don't even have that anymore, but it still sits in a fund, and they basically got to get legislation approval to spend the funds where it's needed or transferred across.
Wow. All right, hang on, Tim. I got to take a break, and we'll be back. We're talking to 96th State Representative Tim Beeson, and we will be back with him after these notes.
My name is Kim Harris.
And we're back here on the Art Lewis Show talking to 96th State Representative Tim Beeson. Tim, you, of course, have been a champion for small business for a long time. You were a small businessman, and you work hard to make it easier for small business to survive. Are we making any progress in that arena? Have we restructured, for example, any of the licensing or things that people have to deal with the state of Michigan to get into business or keep their business?
So, yes, I am still a small business owner, fully licensed meat retail store inside another business right now, which is great. And some things are getting easier just for the fact that they're working out the bugs. The software that we have to go online to renew our licenses every year. And sometimes you don't have to wait for it to get in the mail. You have to pay yourself to print it off. But it's getting easier to do, probably because people are getting used to the new system. Now, do I think that we still have the wrong structure from the departments, and they're slowly getting better where they're worried about their customer satisfaction. Some departments are doing great getting that to their directors, and some have still not have customer satisfaction surveys and reports that get back to the director yet.
It's interesting that, that businesses seem to have these obstacles. I will say this: as a private citizen with a CPL, a concealed pistol license, I just got my renewal notice in the mail 6 months before my expiration date, which is typical, and it happened. I mean, it was like clockwork, and I thought, wow, that was pretty efficient, and I can renew online.
Yes, so that part is I agree 100% where they're getting it out. And they're pretty much moving everybody to online renewal for everything, and they say it's more efficient and more effective. My question is if it's more efficient and more effective, why do we continue to add more employees to the state payroll? That doesn't work hand in hand, right? And in fact, when I was here, I've been here long enough to sit through a few appropriations, and I've had directors tell me they need people to open the mail. So we're so far behind. And I thought to myself, we gave you full-time employees to catch back up, and now you guys don't even send out the mail. Why didn't you give me back those 2 employees that used to open the mail that would catch you guys up, right?
So let me ask you this.
These are the questions I have. Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you this. If they're going to open the mail, that means they have to be in the office. How many of these people are working from home still? Do we have a lot of government employees?
So that's the thing that we're working on. That's the big push this year, is to actually get a study based on the people that are, because they tell us, the directors are like, well, they work from home, but they're hybrid, so they can come in 1, 2, 3 days a week, and we want to get their instruction of what that actually means for a worker. But more so than anything, I look at it like this: if they can work from home so efficient, why do we send them all over the country to get certified in different areas where they can do that from home? We need to tighten up the belt and say, listen, you can't have it both ways. You can't say you're working from home, but then need to go to a seminar in Tampa or a seminar in Texas or a seminar in Arkansas or one in Hawaii, right? It doesn't make sense. And I know I sound like a beating the drum, like, oh my gosh, the idea that it even happened. We sent somebody from Michigan to Hawaii for invasive species. That you could do probably the exact same thing online. That just seems far-fetched, right? But they only want to come to work 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah, well, it just seems to me that one of the negative legacies of COVID was all that homework.
I think you're right. And even with the workforce, I think they've got used to, like even the people that worked at the meat shop, they got used to getting that money paid, right? So I see that you're seeing these service jobs that you have to get your hands dirty. They're like, my time's worth more than that. And I really do think that we're going to have a struggle over the next 10 years getting people to do the service jobs.
Yeah. Let me ask another question here about taxes and the budgets and all of that. A number of the candidates that have been running, particularly for governor, have said, "Oh, we're going to find a way to get rid of property tax. We're going to reduce property tax, get rid of income tax." If you have trouble reducing individual budgets because the departments are uncooperative and stash money, how in the world can we operate a government that's not collecting taxes? Is it reality?
Okay, so and I brought this in to my office hours with my uncles and the old commissioners, both Democrat and Republican, and I said, listen, this is how big our budget is, right? I mean, really, if you look at it, it's this big. It's I think it ended up being like 75, 76. But when you put in
76, yeah.
yeah, okay, but listen, if you actually take away the taxes that comes from this one little part, I think that they figured on the high side of 6.1 billion, depending on which ones you want. If you want to eliminate all it's like 6.1 billion, right? Now, if you really think about that, it's a basically a $70 billion budget, right? 76. It's only 10%. Let me tell you what, everybody right now is figuring out how to live with 10% less in their pocketbook. I know we are right now, and guess what? And we haven't, I haven't had to go. My wife and I both work, and she works for the school system. We're in the public eye. We're not in the private anymore right now, besides a little this. But guess what? We figured out how to get it done, and we have 2 kids in college. But so everybody's doing this. But our state continues to spend more and have unlimited idea that they can just put another fee or another tax. And I think that we could totally do it if you have the right person in office.
So, so you're saying, could you get rid of, for example, the income tax?
You could get rid of the income tax, and you would have to transfer it somewhere else. But I don't want to transfer it. I think that we could do it just by cleaning up some of the programs and policies in our state government that overlap the federal and overlap. Like, it's a lot of overlap. And if they don't overlap, then I agree that we need one service net, safety net to help people get back on their feet. But a safety net that is supposed to help you get back on your feet should not be a life way of living.
And how about the property taxes? Is there relief there?
So the relief of the property taxes, right? I mean, remember so the property taxes, you still got to figure out how we are going to fund, and it's being honest. Like, these people a lot of these people have paid a lot of money on their houses and taxes, right? And even businesses, right? I mean, property taxes, the businesses don't get a homestead tax, right? So they paid a lot of years, right, into the system, and it's basically like renting from the government. I do believe that, right? We've got to figure a better system so you don't feel like when you're 70, 80, 90 and lived in your house, you don't feel like you paid for your house 4 times over.
Yeah. I got you there.
Remember, but think about this. I mean, you're a little bit over the senior day, which is coming up, I think, on the 21st, Senior Citizens Day.
Yeah, just a little.
I'm not saying your age or anything, but I'm not quite there yet. But you're right. At some point in time, I mean, like, we've got to figure out how to the relief so people don't want to leave our state. Like, that's what the bigger picture is how do we keep people to stay here instead of watch them leave, right? And money's one issue. I mean, it's a huge issue. Like, people will move, and when you take whether they want to or not, they will move when their funds can't afford the way that they just want to finish out their life.
We'll talk about that when we return here. Jobs are important. Okay. We're talking to State Representative Tim Beeson, and we will be back to do more. If your car or truck gets dirty, what do? Well, I can tell you what you do. You wash it, right? Absolutely. But what do you do if the engine gets dirty? And I'm not talking about surface dirt. I'm talking about internal dirt, pistons, injectors, valves. They build up with carbon and oxidize over time, reducing performance and mileage. No worries, because you can wash your engine internally with an engine performance treatment. It's 2 parts. 1 part goes in the tank and cleans everything that touches the gas. The second part goes in the engine and cleans everything that touches the oil. Here's John from Quick Lane in Freeland to explain to you how it works. John?
Hi, Art. Our fuel treatment goes in the fuel tank and cleans everything gas touches, including carbon buildup on injectors. Our oil treatment cleans the gunk and grime inside the engine. After 15 minutes, we drain the oil and the sludge comes out with it. Works on both cars and trucks.
Thanks, John. You'll notice a difference right away, too. When you start your car, it'll run smoother and quieter. Gas mileage will increase, too. So get some giddy up and go with a clean engine at Quick Lane in Freeland. And remember, too, at Quick Lane Freeland, all their tires are still $5 over cost. Quick Lane, Freeland, part of the McDonald Ford complex.
Retirement is more than...
All right, we're back with you. We're talking to State Representative Tim Beeson. So, Timmy, let me ask, One of the reasons that people leave the state is lack of employment, jobs. Obviously, jobs are important. Up until recently, the Great Lakes Bay region was kind of leading the state. I mean, we had our friends from Corning come in with a major expansion in Hemlock, looking for 1,500 employees. Hemlock Semiconductor doing well. And then there was SK Siltron, which at one time was looking for employees. This is the first breach in that armor where SK Siltron is pulling out. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I know that their workforce there. I know some of the workers that work there, and they're very well trained. I'm hoping that they move over to Vantage Plastic or Ziploc. I know they both need people right now. They're hiring, so hopefully that is a seamless process. And that's, as much as that is my concern, my bigger concern is the marijuana business. That's the jobs that it's going to hurt the most, because there's 4,900 jobs in our area in Bay County, and
In
these
marijuana?
are single parents. Yeah, in
the cannabis industry?
In the cannabis, they've actually, you can look at the amount of licenses we have, and they actually gave me the number from the state that there's 4,900 jobs in Bay County in the cannabis industry, from all the way from Northern Bay all the way, and we continue to shut them down. We shut the big one down in Bay County, which is also a big, huge use of power, right, is now gone, and they're shutting them down because they got to give up 40% of their sales to the state of Michigan. You know, with the tax, the excise tax, the 24% household tax, it's giving up 40%, and you don't even have a franchise. So we're gonna destroy that industry, and those jobs are Monday through Friday, and these are single payer jobs. It doesn't matter whether they're the growers, whether they're the clippers, whether they're the harvesters, whether they're sellers, whether they just work maintenance at these. These businesses are shutting down, and I've never been a guy, but I got to tell you, a small business is a small business, and that money is going to be gone out of our county.
I have to ask this, though, Tim.
Yep.
Is it because of the taxes they have to pay, which they all have to pay, or did we overbuild, and now we're compensating?
No, you listen. We would have slowly fizzled out a few, the worst, right? But this is a new tax that the state put on, additional to the sales tax and excise tax. They're going to
that's right. I forgot about that.
So, and not any other. So listen, you need to move out of our state right now unless you're the best of what you do. And so all the people that were, you know, the get-or-buys, the small businesses, right? The ones that were like, well, it's not as good as as cheap as a place down the street that does it, but you know what? It's close to me, so I'm going to go there. These places are going to close up. They put a 24% tax. I did not vote for this to try to fund a hole in roads, right?
Yep.
To keep, and the problem is, and that's why it doesn't work when you don't think long term. Just like these bridges in Bay County, nobody thought long term. And you know what? It's dividing our city and our state and our county. But guess what? This is going to do the exact same thing. And these people are going to be out of work coming into the school year. And I'm thinking to myself, and we're not even close to the amount of money. I think that I saw that last quarter was like $70 million. And at this point in time, they thought there were going to be $220 million brought in for tax revenue. It's going to close them down. And if we don't do something about it, that's a big loss of revenue to our state.
Then a loss of jobs, obviously.
And you just talked about it, like small businesses, it doesn't matter the small business. The regulation to keep a small business open is hard enough in our state. We have a culture that we have a gotcha state. Our departments are better. Your licensing is better. And if you ever try to get on the phone with them one time, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I deal with it all the time from people trying to get a liquor license for their event, and they've done the same thing, and they feel like it's got to get smoother. It's got to get better, and the culture from the departments has got to be, what can we do for you? Because they don't realize that they work for us sometimes. Even I feel that, and I'm a state rep.
Well, they don't look at them as a customer.
No, and they feel like it's their job, and they're going to get paid the same. And instead of the idea with a little bit of empathy, like, hey, guess what? We are glad we're state workers, and we're going to do the best we can to make your business open as soon as possible, and you start generating revenue. Because every business is a small tax base. You know, people don't realize that. And if you've never owned your own business, you got to go out there at one time and just try it. Even a lemonade stand like those young kids do on the corner right up by my house, it's amazing that they're learning how much they have to generate, right? To feel like at the end of the day,
Yep.
It's huge. I promote anybody that wants to start their own business before they criticize the business owners, because it's not as easy as they think just to get the license.
Yeah, and you would well know because you were in small business for how long?
I'm still in small business.
You
I
still
have
are,
my
yeah.
license.
You still have your license, but how long do you have the store?
I had the store for 21 years, from 2000 to 2021. I'm hoping that I can knock it down and let somebody else go there and be another business in the community that is something that this community needs.
Your building is still up?
Yeah, but I'm hoping I can get. I'm wheeling and dealing with a excavating company to get it knocked down so we can sell that piece of property, because there's a lot of vacant buildings, and as all these marijuana places go out, these cannabis places go out, guess what happens? You have all that vacant property out there that's been bought up to code. So you want something that's that Big Tim, my father, had back in the 90s, or do you want something that was all bought up to code 3 years ago?
Yeah. All right.
It's a
hang on.
no-brainer.
Tim, we'll take one more break, and then we'll be back to finish up. State Representative Tim Beeson, representing the 96th District, most of Bay County.
Gotta go.
Chatting with State Representative Tim Beeson. Timmy, one of the things back, and this goes back to March, you had pushed back on some regulators over utility rate increases. But yet we keep hearing about more and more requests. Where are we with utility rates, and where are we going with it?
Well, that's the question, right? Like, why do our utility rates continue to go, but they ask for a rate increase, and we are trying to figure out how you can make it so they can't ask for a rate increase every year, which then takes about a year and a half to get through.
How about multiple times a year?
Yes, so that's what and you got to ask. Like, if you figure out why these committees are, three people are deciding that we need more and more. At what point in time, and they are appointed. These people are appointed that are deciding your rate. They're appointed by the governor. So also, I'm excited because that with a new change, maybe we'll find somebody that is in the business, right, of understanding that we don't want to continue to pay higher rates, right, even if they want to subsidize it with new green technology.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
and none of this takes into account the possibility of data centers, right?
No, but I think that and I'm telling you from what I'm seeing in Lansing, that a data center is not coming in unless they're figuring a way to get a new power source along with them, and it's supposed to make it so it's less for the actual residents and making sure that they never take the power away. Because, I mean, I'm not even a big fan of the fact that we can't do laundry in our house. My wife's like, no laundry from a certain time to a certain time. Because in the business, my business doesn't have. Well, but listen, if you have a company that's going to, and they're like, well, we need the power there, that tells me that I get it that they have efficiencies on when they should be peaking power. But the idea that you only have one choice for the power company, and they're telling you, well, we'll give you a break if you don't use power from a certain time to a certain time. I kind of question that, right? Like, you can't say you can't buy ice cream especially if you work the night shift and you have to do laundry that time of the day. You're paying more money.
Yeah, and this, of course, a lot of that happens in the summer because of air conditioning.
Because of air conditioning, you're exactly right.
Yeah. So data centers. Well, let's talk about data centers for a moment here. Where are we in terms of state regulation on data centers?
Well, so half of, and this goes across the board, half of people are for data centers, half are against. These are legislators, right?
Yep.
And you know what? It's like it is a very everybody wants it, but nobody wants it in their backyard. That's the best way to say that.
Yeah, and it crosses political lines, right? It's
both
sides,
it's
both parties.
You're right. It's the misinformation of it. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I was with the water department. We have plenty of water for a data center for a closed-loop system. And I went out there and I toured it, and we have an extra more than half of the water that we need. So we're ready for expansion here. I don't care if it's a data center or whatever. In Bay County, we have plenty of water, right? So that's not the problem, and it's not going to increase our water. but the power is the other side of it, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're coming in. I mean, if they're coming in with their own nuclear thing, I'm fine with this. Like, in the fact, maybe we can buy some of that and make my power bill less.
And you mentioned something that's important when it comes to the water. It's a closed loop system. Once the water's in it, it stays in it.
But some people don't understand that, right? Like, I have a closed loop boiler, and I have an open loop wood burner that I burn water, and it makes it so that I hopefully don't have to use the boiler very often unless I'm in Lansing too long, and then my bill's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But you got to understand the system. That's why geothermal works. You know, that 55-degree water, if everybody piped it into their crawl space, it would save your house. But the amount of work that you got to do to get there, right? It's a trade-off.
All right, I want to finish up where I normally start, and that's with
Okay.
roads. We mentioned the new tax and all of that. And have we resolved getting money to locals for their streets and roads?
I would say no. And being straight honest, Bay County, Bay City roads are some of the worst. So, and if we are getting the money back, maybe, and you don't want to put strings on revenue sources that come from the state of Michigan, right, to cities and villages and towns. But I mean, our major roads, right, that are state roads are getting better, but our local roads and another mandate saying you got to do so many roads, and that doesn't really help because we're not giving them the funding like they did do for the lead pipeline, right? So I don't feel that we got, and I know that that's what the governor said, fix the damn roads. She did fix the state highway. We got a lot of the main roads and the trunk line roads done, and a lot of our county commission roads. They did a good job making sure that they did the best with the money to get those roads done. But you're right, we have not got a good situation, and all we did was put a tax on those cannabis companies, so they're going to go out of business. So we're going to have less road funding,
Yeah.
and I don't know how we fix that.
I don't either. I had Rick Heyman on, the new city manager in Bay City, and first thing out of his mouth was roads, streets.
Yeah,
You know, it's on the top of his
you
list.
can't even drive. I mean, a bicycle or one of those little motorized scooters or a little motorized electric scooter or bike, like, it's rough. Like, you can't go full blast. But it's like that in Lansing too. Like, it's our local roads. We've got to figure out a program. And hey, and what a great idea! Maybe we open up the mine in the UP and we use all the revenue source, billions of dollars, for local roads. But that's a bad idea because when you go up to the UP, that's what they need. And us here in Lansing and lower, where all the all the legislators are, like, no, we don't want to do that. But they really need some kind of revenue source up there, and we need the money for local roads.
All right. Well, you know, it's a problem that's been with us for a long time. It's a problem that's, I'm afraid, going to be with us for a long time. But, Tim, we appreciate your time as always. And
Well, thank you very much.
Chat with you again down the road.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yep, you too. Thanks. Take care
Bye-bye.
now. Bye-bye. State Representative Tim Beeson from the 96th, representing most of Bay County and Bay City and all of that. And we appreciate his views on things as a small businessman particularly. Tim had a very successful meat market for a long, long time, still has his license, and still practices the profession inside another building. Anyhow, that'll do it. We'll be back with more next hour on the Art Lewis Show.
We're proud to make